Hello, I'm Neil Quigley and welcome to the latest episode of my Blogcast. Hope you're well and you've had a good couple of weeks. I have had a very enjoyable couple of weeks. One of my favourite all-time comedians is Frank Skinner. I've liked him since the first moment I saw him. Obviously, with David Baddiel, he did all the fantasy football programmes and for quite some time had his own chat show as well. It took me quite a while, though, to actually get round to seeing him live. Unbelievably, I only saw him live for the first time about 5 years ago when he did a gig at a theatre in London. I also, after that, managed to go and see him in a much smaller venue doing a work in progress show, which was fantastic. A couple of weeks ago, he was doing a very limited 7-day run in London with his latest show, which he had performed up at this year's Edinburgh Fringe Festival. So I decided that I had to go along. Managed to make it work in my diary. Took my girlfriend Linda along. It was at the Lyric Theatre in London. As I said, massive Frank Skinner fan. I had all of his live stand-up videos on VHS and used to watch them over and over again. I bought and read both of his books. He has got quite a fascinating life story, worth reading, certainly his first book. He, as all of us have to at some point in life, has overcome various things and made various sacrifices to achieve what he did. Anyway, it's very good. Oh, and also, it's very funny, of course, as well, which is quite important. For this latest show, his support act was Chloe Petts, who was fantastic. I was aware of her, but it was the first time that I'd seen her live. I thought she was fantastic. And Frank was just Frank for me. I absolutely loved it from start to finish. He's got such a wonderful way of chatting to people in the audience and kind of using them to explain jokes and reference things and help people understand various points of the show. And it's just so funny. He does create and I think come up with such fantastic jokes, and he's so quick-witted. As you can tell, I'm a massive fan and I thoroughly enjoyed this latest show. It was brilliant. As ever with Frank, he tried to make it slightly more music hall to a degree, but ultimately, and this is what we love him for, he does love a good knob joke, and there were plenty of those. I'm not sure if he's going to tour it around the country, but if he does, well worth seeing. The other Friday night, weird though this may sound, I kind of went out on a date with my girlfriend's mum. Let me explain and clarify that a little bit. About 4 months previous, we were at my girlfriend's having a games night with some of her cousins, and we got talking about music, and we discovered that her mum liked Chas and Dave. As do I. I had seen the original Chas and Dave live a couple of times and interviewed the wonderful Chaz Hodges once, who was fantastic. I like Chas and Dave. She'd seen Chas and Dave in the past as well. And we found out there was a Chas and Dave tribute act at the local town hall, and we went and saw that together recently. We have known each other for around 3 years now, so we get on fine. However, we've not really gone out or spent any time, just the two of us, out in public. So it was a little bit different, I think it's fair to say. To make it slightly stranger as well, Linda dropped us off at the venue and picked us up afterwards. So it almost felt like we were out on a date being picked up by our parents after. Quite strange from that point of view. However, the gig was very, very good. It was a Chas and Dave tribute act called Rabbit Rabbit, who have been playing together for years as a function band. They were really good, musically perfect, and they really did do a great job of recreating the songs and the feel of a Chas and Dave concert. Did all the big hits and a lot of album tracks as well. All nicely done, nothing missing. A full 2-hour, 20-minute show with a 20-minute interval in between. Now, the town hall we went to, it's quite cosy. It holds about 120. So when we got in there, it was a bit tight in the seating, and I'm out with my girlfriend's mum. As we're sitting there, this gentleman comes past us to sit in the seat next to her, and he's got camouflage trousers on and Crocs, and he kind of starts talking to her. Now, I kind of felt I needed to discreetly step in and join the conversation. I think he was being friendly. I don't know if he was trying to chat her up, but I'm not sure Linda really wanted me to go out with her mum and for her mum to potentially come back with a new dad for her. It didn't happen. It was fine. The bloke was lovely. We had a nice evening. Really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And as I said, at the end, Linda came along and picked us up afterwards. What I did find as well, I am a Chaz and Dave fan, I'll admit that, but there were so many songs of theirs I knew that I'd kind of forgotten about. So going to that gig reminded me of them. So I've been listening back to them since. And lyrically and musically, their stuff is really hard to sing. They put a lot of words in, and the phrasing that you need to fit the lyrics to the tunes is quite spectacular, which makes me realise what a brilliant job Rabbit Rabbit, the tribute act, really did do. Now, Linda really wants to go and see the current production of King Lear, starring Kenneth Branagh. Now, I do like a bit of Shakespeare, don't mind that at all, and I'm always happy to support a fellow Tottenham Hotspur fan like Ken. So we came up with a bit of a plan to try and make this happen, as it is only a very limited run and it's such a big production. It's got Sir Kenneth Branagh in the lead role. Unsurprisingly, advance tickets are very, very expensive, round about £200, £250. Now, we both want to see it, don't get me wrong, but there comes a point where we think, well, maybe we could go on a holiday rather than see the show. Anyway, what we discovered, as with most theatre shows, to be fair, they release a small number of reasonable price tickets on the day of every performance. So we picked a Saturday, decided we were going to try and get tickets and go to the matinee. So it was a bit of a military operation. She was logged on her computer. I was logged on my phone to the website. We were there dead on time when the tickets were released, trying desperately to get our hands on a couple of them. In the end, it was a success. We managed to get 2 standing tickets in the stalls for that afternoon matinee that we were aiming for. We were delighted. We bought them. We had them. Got on the train more or less straight away. Headed into London, very excited and also feeling very smug with ourselves that we'd achieved our goal. We're about halfway into the journey when Linda gets an email from the theatre saying that unfortunately they've had to cancel the afternoon show. Show's been cancelled due to an issue with the cast, which they couldn't get round. So all of a sudden, we weren't going to the theatre that afternoon. I can't fault the theatre, to be fair. Things happen in life. They not only emailed Linda, they rang her as well just to confirm it was definitely off. And they did say at that point they'd be in touch to either find replacement tickets for us for another show or a refund. And since then, they've been good to their word. We have rebooked to go and see the show later this month, which we're very much looking forward to. But back to the day of the cancelled performance, we're on our way into London. The plan was to see a matinee theatre performance, so we thought, why change that plan? So it was straight onto the phones, looking at what shows were going on and who was doing a matinee. And I'll be honest, we were looking for a bit of a bargain as well. The tickets to King Lear that we got were only £20 each, so we thought we'd try and find something of a similar price. So we were looking around, seeing what's about. There's a couple of things that we both wanted to see and a couple of things that maybe one of us wanted to see more than the other. So there was a bit of negotiation to be had. Some discussions took place. And in the end, there was a show that I have had my eye on for a while. I personally prefer a musical or a comedy play. Linda does generally like her plays a bit more serious, a bit more dramatic. On this occasion, I managed to find a good deal for us to go and see a comedy farce called Noises Off. It's playing at the Theatre Royal on Haymarket, which is a great theatre, by the way. I've been there to see quite a few shows, including the Only Fools and Horses musical, which I thought was a brilliant fitting tribute to the television show. Anyway, back to Noises Off. We managed to get last-minute tickets in the stalls for £15 each. Absolute bargain. We managed to get there in time for the start, which is always a bit of a bonus, and also, of course, to grab some pre-theatre drinks quickly, which is an essential part of the whole experience. The play itself is over 40 years old, in the style of the old school classic farce. So therefore, you've got lots of doors that open and close, people head in and head out, and they just miss each other as they exit a room and enter a room. Nothing was missing at all. It was really good, very, very funny, very cleverly done. And one of those plays which must be so hard to perform in, because the timing of almost everything is critical for it all to work. I mean, I guess they're helped out slightly by this one without giving too much away. It's a under-rehearsed play that they're taking out on tour, and you're kind of looking at it behind the scenes as they do their final dress rehearsal, and then you dip in at various points during the tour as the whole thing kind of completely unwinds. The cast was fantastic. It included Felicity Kendall, Matthew Horn, Tasmin Althwaite and James Fleet, who was in The Vicar of Dibley and Four Weddings and a Funeral. The whole cast were fantastic. I loved it. It was just silly, stupid, ridiculous fun for a Saturday afternoon. Just what I needed. And of course, very different from the King Lear that we were originally due to see. So we're in London, we finished in the matinee, we don't need to rush home, so we decided to go and have dinner somewhere. As I have mentioned before, I have celiac disease, which means I cannot eat anything with gluten in at all. It causes me massive problems. It makes me very, very ill. Even the slightest grain of gluten can make me ill and affect my stomach and actually damage my stomach lining, which obviously is not good. That has very strong links with your immune system and your ability to absorb all the vitamins and minerals that your body needs. Anyway, long story short, any gluten is terrible for me, which means I have to be very selective where I eat out. Generally, I will only go to places that are Celiac UK accredited, which means not only do they supply gluten-free options, they pass various tests and have certificates to say they'll be prepared in a safe way to avoid any cross-contamination. Every now and then, though, I do try somewhere new, either because I've emailed them directly, had a conversation with someone, and they've assured me they can accommodate me in a safe manner. Or the other option is, and these do exist, is to find restaurants that are completely gluten-free. There's no gluten at all in their kitchen, therefore there's no risk to me. Now, Linda, a while ago, discovered this Peruvian restaurant out near Liverpool Street Station around the Spitalfield Market area. And it was somewhere that was on our radar that we were meaning to go for quite a while. So as we had plenty of time to head out to that side of London after the theatre, I managed to book us a table for two at that restaurant. It's called Andina, and obviously because it's 100% gluten-free, which I think it just happens to be, the food they serve, and I guess the Peruvian diet, seems to lend itself to that perfectly. We arrived, the staff were great. I loved the way they decked out the place, looked perfect. There was traditional Peruvian music in the background. It just had such a nice, friendly, cozy feel to it. I really liked the whole makeup of it, and the menu looked amazing as well. It's very rare that I can go into a restaurant and choose anything off the menu. Obviously I could here because it's 100% gluten-free, and everything on the menu looked and sounded amazing. Honestly, initially we just had some grilled corn, which they bring out in a little pot while you're waiting for the rest of your food to come. Now, generally, in most restaurants nowadays, I very rarely get a chance to have the squid because it is almost never gluten-free. They had squid on the starters menu, so I was definitely having that, and I did. It was fantastic. Linda had a fried chicken dish they did for starter, and she let me try a bit of that, and that also was amazing. For my main, I had a beef dish that they had. It was basically beef and potato in essence, but it was done so well with various spices and other great flavours. And the meat was cooked perfectly, just melted in your mouth. Linda had a chicken dish with sweet potatoes, which again was fantastic. And of course we had dessert. I could choose from all the dessert options. There was a sticky toffee pudding on there, which would normally be my 100% go-to choice. However, I also spotted they had a chocolate and banana mousse with hazelnut ice cream, and I've never even heard of that combination or tried that kind of ice cream before. So I thought I would have that. And unusually, Linda went with dessert as well, to my delight, and she ordered the sticky toffee pudding. So I was optimistic I might get to try some of that as well. The puddings arrived. Absolutely loved the chocolate and banana mousse with the hazelnut ice cream. Tasted great. And Linda did, of course, very kindly let me have some of the sticky toffee pudding in the end, which, again, was great. Absolutely loved it in there. We'll definitely go back again because there's many more things on the menu I want to try and couldn't just in one go. Plus, it's 100% gluten-free, perfectly safe place for me to eat. It's called Andina, Peruvian restaurant, and I'd say it's worth a visit if you're in that area, particularly if you're a celiac or gluten-free. Definitely worth a visit, but the food is great anyway. So I do normally briefly mention Tottenham Hotspur. It's quite a big part of my life, being a season ticket holder, so I go to all the home games. What a game the game against Chelsea was. It was so odd, so weird. It all started fantastically well. We got a goal inside the first 6 minutes, albeit through a massive deflection. And then, with one of the best moves of the season, we scored a goal that was disallowed for offside, possibly with millimetres in it. And then after that, everything just kind of went a bit wrong. We got one of our centre-halves deservedly sent off. He made a challenge he shouldn't have made. He had the red missed up. So he gets the red card and we're down to 10 men. Not long after that, our other centre-half pulls up with a hamstring injury and has to go off. At the same time, our star midfielder, James Maddison, injures his ankle and goes off. So already we've made one substitution to cater for missing a defender from the sending off and two more substitutions through injury as well. Somehow though, despite all that, we get to half time and the score still 1-1. In that game, there were so many long VAR stops. I know we kind of want to get the rules of the game right and we want to make sure decisions are fair and correct. But honestly, we were at the game trying to enjoy the atmosphere and trying to watch what was going on. There were points when we didn't know what was going on. We had no idea what VAR were checking, why we were waiting so long. I mean, there were gaps of like 7, 8, 10 minutes in between decisions. It was absolutely ridiculous in that sense. It seemed a bit like being at an American sporting event. There were so many gaps between the action. Anyway, things got steadily worse for Spurs after that. We lost a second defender for a second bookable offence, which was fair, deserved the booking. And for his first challenge that he received the first booking for, he may have got sent off for that, to be perfectly honest. So we're down to 9 men now. And fair play, we kept playing. We kept a very high line. We kept trying to attack, even though they had 2 extra men. Then, in the 92nd minutes, we had the ball in their goal for what we thought was an equaliser, but that was ruled offside. Then just after that, they increased their lead to a 2-goal lead and eventually to a 3-goal lead, which was a bit unfair on us, I think, score-wise in the end. But when you're down to 9 men and up against it like that, we battled really hard. It just really wasn't our day. Everything that could go wrong in that game did go wrong. But it was always going to be a season of ups and downs. It's the manager's first one. We've exceeded expectations so far. I'm along for the ride. I'm 100% behind the manager and the team and the whole squad. And whatever will be, will be. But what that game showed us is we won't give up without a fight. And that's all you can ask for, I think. Just a quick reminder that you can hear my radio show Saturday afternoons between 2 and 4 on radio9springs.com. That is it for this time. I'm off to Edinburgh for a few days, so I'll tell you about that next time we speak. Stay safe, look after yourselves and each other, please, and I'll speak to you soon. But for now, bye-bye.